Hi, I'm Brian Dunn, and welcome to the most important podcast ever. What makes it so important? It's not about me, it's about you. This podcast is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, the moments of resilience, the lessons learned, and the small acts that made a big difference. From retail floors to boardrooms, we'll share the untold stories that shape lives and careers. This week, our guest is Myles Frueh. Myles is a character that I have met here at Streetside Studio 7, and I have developed great admiration for his timing, for his creative process, and for his shows, which we'll talk about. So, welcome, Myles. Thrilled to have you here tonight.
Thank you, Brian. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here. I'm glad we're finally able to sit down and have a discussion. Just have a little fun talk.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm hoping for. So, you recently, and this really got my attention. Went on the dash for cash. Maybe you could talk a little bit about
Absolutely, I'd love to. So this summer, I think it was kind of toward the later end of July, I had finally executed an idea that I had had for a little while, which was, can I go across the country and do it for free? Can I have it where it's not a penny out of my pocket? And it was really inspired by this one YouTuber. His name was Ryan Trahan on YouTube, and he did a fundraiser where he went to all 50 states in 50 days, and he was raising money for St. Jude. I think he raised toward the end around like $11 million. And I was so inspired looking at it, and I was just like, gosh, I've been watching this guy's content for years. Every summer he does this big thing where it's this big fundraiser, and I'm just like, why can't I do something like that, right? And I was like really moved. So then I just started to piece it together in my head a little bit. I'm like, okay, how can I do it, right? Obviously, I don't have the team to go across all 50 states in 50 days yet, nor the time, because I was, kind of toward the later end of July, right?
Sure.
But I was thinking, I was like, what can I do? Kind of how can I personalize it toward me and personalize it toward the Unspecified Show? And I had gotten into door dashing in around April of this year. I had kind of been intrigued about it for a while, just because of the flexibility of it,
Sure.
if you will.
Sure.
Just having that option where I could, pull the phone out of my pocket. I got a free hour and a half, right? I can't really go around to back home because by the time I get home, I got to
Right,
turn back
right.
around. So it's like, oh, might as well make money during that time. So you just,
It's a great model,
it,
really, isn't
I
it?
like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So I was thinking, I was like, well, I've done it here in Alexandria. Why can't I do it elsewhere? Right. And I, did the research. And of course, DoorDash is across the United States. So I was like, I wonder if I can pop town to town all the way across the country and go on a trip for free. And of course, I wanted to have that fundraising aspect to it as well, right? It could just be that it's just another excuse to go across somewhere. I'm like, I really want to make it something special to me. And the big question, of course, was what, right? There's so many fundraisers out
Sure.
there, and you'd love to put them all on there, but it's like, okay, what's one specifically that I could do? And I was just looking and thinking. I was running through the Rolodex of all the different ones. I was like, which one? Which one? And then I remembered my mom. My mom is a very big supporter of me and the show, and has been my whole life. And I remembered the date. It's the 2025, year's 2025. And I asked her. I said, "Mom, you've been cancer free for 10 years, haven't you?" She said, "Yep, yep." 10 years ago, around it was around April, so a little more than 10 years ago. She's like, I came cancer free, rang the bell. She was diagnosed, I believe it was the year before, so I would have been 8 years old, 8 years old around that time. And of course, I had really no idea what it was, but it's a big thing. I feel like
It's a huge
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so you decide that
Mm-hmm.
you're going to hook this to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I
Thank you.
love it. I love it. I love it. And it's personal to you. Was your mom excited when you told her?
I said, well, I said, how about for the 10-year anniversary, how about I go across the country and raise raise money and the victory of your victory, right? Yeah. She was super happy about it. She really loved it. She was like, yeah, yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea. So I looked at a couple different platforms. Ended up using one called Tiltify. I was able to use the American Cancer Society. I was
Mm.
like, okay, tag that on there. So all the funds that everybody donated, I think toward the end we raised, I think it was $1,200, $1,200 all to the American Cancer Society.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I love the creativity of it. So can you tell us a little bit about the mechanics? Did you have self-imposed rules?
I had, yeah, so there was a couple different ones. Everything had to be paid through DoorDash. So that included lodging, that included food, that included gas. All those had to be paid through DoorDash. I couldn't take any money out of my own account.
So so if you're in Dubuque and you get no biz, you get no Uber calls, you're you're staying in your car in Dubuque.
Yep, yep.
Wow.
So that was it was definitely it took more than just a quick conversation with my parents to swing that one. Anytime they go, hey, your child might be sleeping in a car in middle of nowhere, Alabama, right? It's a little,
But it'll be
bit,
fine.
it'll be, it'll be good. I said,
But
don't worry.
what could happen?
Right, exactly. I'm like, everything's gonna go great. Don't worry, mom and dad. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make hundreds of dollars every day. It's gonna be perfect. I'm even gonna have leftover money. I probably should have, for future reference, if anybody does something like that, always try to test it out, right? Maybe do a little bit of a test run.
Yeah.
I
Maybe go to Osakis.
try out a city because it was actually, and I said it in the video, and at the time, you had so much adrenaline, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. I had viewed it as like a really cool thing, and then afterwards, I was like, oh, maybe I should not have done that. And that was, oh, this is my first time door dashing outside of Alexandria.
Yeah.
Maybe should have tested it up a little bit.
So can you share some general points about the route
Absolutely.
and some things that happened along the way?
Absolutely. So I'll give a little insider information, if you will.
Please.
When I had said, I wanted to go across the country, of course, I never really had a pinpoint, right? I never really had like this is the final destination. And I feel like that actually kind of added to the fun of it. So, for reference, I had ended in Panama City Beach, Florida, but that wasn't the original plan. Even, I mean, days into the series too, I never thought that I was going to be ending up in Florida. It had moved a couple of different times. I think about like a couple of weeks before, I had pitched that it was like, okay, we're only going to go halfway across the country. We're going to go to Nashville, Tennessee, right? And I planned it out, planned out the route. We're gonna go from Alexandria to Madison, Wisconsin. Then we're gonna go from Madison to Indianapolis. Then we're gonna go Indianapolis to Louisville, Kentucky. Then from there we'll end it in Nashville.
All assuming
Yes,
that you're getting enough
that I'm gonna get there
right.
on time.
Right.
And I had got to, it was finally made it to Louisville, Kentucky, and everything was, well, I wouldn't say everything was going right, but I was still alive and I was still making the planned schedule that I had.
I got to go back.
Mhm.
So did you start in Alex?
I did. So I'm jumping the gun here. Golly, this is I started an out. Um, I did, and it was probably the thing that helped me the most was I stayed. So I had all day in Alec. I think I woke up like 6 a.m., got ready, got the stuff set up. How I had it in my car was I had obviously the little phone mount so that you're safe, hands-free driving, right? I also had a dash cam that I ended up I was gonna have footage from that, but I never had the SD card with me. So of course I never had the access to that dash cam.
I just got to
Right.
tell you, I loved your Into the Dash cam soliloquies.
Thank you.
They were fantastic.
Thank you, thank you. And how I did that was because I did actually I had tested it out in Alexandria how I was gonna film it because you got to use your phone to
Oh
be
yeah,
able to dash, right? I'm like, if I have to switch between the app to my camera to back and forth, I'm like, how I'm never gonna be able to. Just it adds so much time when it's the dash, right?
right, right,
It's not
right,
the walk for
right.
cash, it's
It's
the
not
dash. You gotta go,
the
right?
crawl. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe there's a way where I can take my video camera and hang that in my car somehow. So sure enough, I looked up on Amazon and it exists. It was a little suction mount, and then you put the video camera up on it, and I had it pointed at me at an angle. Perfect. Have that on there too. And then I was also thinking, I'm like, okay, that's not going to be enough, though, right? That solves the problem of how am I going to film in the car? Safe. Hands on the wheel, eyes forward, right? That solves that problem. What about when I'm in the places? I'm not going to take a video camera with me, walk into McDonald's, and be like, hey guys, we're doing the Dash for Cash giant video camera in my hand, right? So I was like, how am I going to do that? And I had done a little research on how to do like a POV, how to do a POV shot because I've seen it before on the internet. I've seen people do it before. I was like, I wonder how they do it. They got to have it strapped to their chest. Like,
Right, right.
how do you make it so it isn't like super obvious? And I have found these things called meta glasses. So they're little glasses that like smart glasses, if you will, and they had a recording feature to them. And I was like, oh, that could be that could be really slick actually. So believe it or not, I had driven up to Fargo, went to Best Buy, and picked up a pair at Best Buy, checked them out, put them on. I'm like, these are gonna actually be pretty sick, and it worked really well because then I was able to get that. Then he had that other camera,
Right,
that other POV,
right, right.
being able to show like, okay, this is me, inside. I'm not faking it, right? I am doing, I'm dashing, I'm grabbing the orders and whatnot. So I'd figured out that and tested all that in Alexandria. So I had stayed a whole day in Alexandria, and then I stayed for free at my parents' place, which was really nice. I think that was the cheapest Airbnb of the whole trip,
Right,
which was
right,
great. It was
right.
great. Uh, and then I had made the great mistake of going, okay, I made about 140 that day. I'm like, perfect. I keep this up every day. I'm going to have enough for an Airbnb, like a $60, $70 Airbnb, enough to pay for $30, $40 worth of gas, right? Driving a little ways. And then I'm going to have enough for food and still a little left over. I can maybe go and splurge, right? Splurge. What a word.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, okay. So you've got the car equipped. You've got your second camera for your POV, which I love, always
Thank you.
thinking like a director.
Thank you.
And then you're off to Madison.
Madison, Wisconsin. I had woken up. Alexandria was done. Went to bed. Woke up in the morning. I think it was about 5:30 a.m. Something early. I know I wanted to get up and go because I said in the plan, which of course quickly became not true. I said Madison, Wisconsin is going to be the longest drive of the series. Then from there, it's going to be a breeze. I'm like, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it out of the way, right? So it was about 6 hours flat just to Madison, Wisconsin. And I made the grave error in my calculations before I left. I said, okay, perfect. 6 hours. I'm still gonna have a lot of time left in the day to dash, right? Well, not exactly. Not exactly. Because if you lay it out, right, you got about a 6 hour drive. That leaves you with about 5 hours straight of dashing. That's about 11 hours. Say there's around 12 hours of light in the day, right? Well, you still have to account for stops along the way. You got to account for,
Oh yeah,
I'm going to dash along the way too. Now that adds a little bit more time too. Then you're like, well, can't really you can't really buy an Airbnb, make it $6 an hour in a city that actually isn't doing well.
right,
Right now, I'm
right.
like, oh shoot, now I need more time, right? So if I had shortened that time down to say maybe if I did 2 3 hour segments, or even if I did what I'd done in Alexandria and stayed in another city again, because mind you, that wasn't in the rules. I had never said that I
Right,
need to go to a
right.
new
You could have
state.
stopped in Eau Claire for.
Exactly.
Yep.
I could have stayed in Chicago for a couple of
Yep.
days if I really wanted to.
Yep.
But then I could have accumulated the capital, if you will. But of course, there was always that kind of in the back of my mind, like, okay, if someone goes to the donation page, I'd put some fun incentives on there. For about $25, I would put their name on the end screen, right? And then for about 50, I gave them a verbal shout out. And then for $200, they donated a $200 flat fee. I would go back to zero in my DoorDash account, no matter where I was at. If I was at $5, 70, 100,
Oh,
I would go back to zero. So it was always that where I was like, I can't really go to sleep with, $20, $30 in my account. Wake up in the morning, check donations and go, oh, yeah, that's gone. Just having that would be like, oh, that's hours of work just
yeah.
out the door. So it was always that was like, okay, I can't exactly save the money. But I did have the idea beforehand, and I never did it in this series. But if I were to do it again, gift cards, I could have put money toward, like if I had saved up and bought a gas gift card, that wouldn't have been money in my DoorDash account, meaning that would have been an asset. That would have been
An asset.
that would have been safe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that would have been safe from the
Yeah.
cash cleanse it was called. That would yeah, I would have been fine.
I love that.
Boom. Okay, that's okay. I still got gas,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that was kind of like if I do it again, I'll do it that way. But yeah, so I had gone to Madison the second day, and that went all right. It was still very early on in the series. We had a lot of that adrenaline,
Right.
right? And that's kind of what kept me going throughout the whole series, because you had to wake up, you had to dash, you had to be like, okay, is this city hot or is it not? Do I need to move? Do I need to dash along the way? You're going to your destination anywhere from 2 to 6 hours away, right? You finally get there, you got to get checked in. You got to be like, okay, do I have enough money to buy an Airbnb today? Do I have enough money to eat? Sometimes it's like I don't, or sometimes it's like, oh hey, I could buy a $1.25 pack of toast and Pop Tarts.
Right.
Knock off Pop Tarts.
McDonald's has a dollar menu.
Right. Yeah, gotta take advantage of that too. And so you would finally get there, but then you can't just put your head on the pillow and be to bed by 9 p.m. That'd be too easy. It's a challenge, right? Then you would have to take all of the footage that you got in that day from all the different cameras that I had on me, put them on the MacBook, put them on the editor, edit it up. That would take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. Next thing you know, it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, okay, I get to finally go to bed and wake up at 6, right? I think at most you would get about 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
I never even thought of that. So you were on the grind. I'm like,
Mhm.
look, he's getting these videos up. This is great. And I'm like, I never thought, who's putting them together? And of course, the answer was,
It was me.
yeah.
It was me. And I tell you, one of the highlights of the Unspecified Show. Of course, I never said it was a good highlight, but it would be editing a video in a Motel 6 in downtown Madison, Wisconsin at 3 a.m. in the morning. Oh, I tell you what, you could have that audio as loud as you want, but anytime you hear a little something, you're looking toward the door and you're like, what was that? Is that just some boards creaking, or is there someone outside my door? That was probably the scariest part of the whole series, because
That,
you're like,
that day, those are tough days. You're
mhm,
driving,
yep,
you're to relax,
yeah,
you're door dashing,
yep,
and then you end your day with the calm, subtle editing of 2 or 3 shots.
yep.
Wow.
Hmm.
And so you go from Madison
Hmm.
to.
It was Indianapolis, Indiana. So I went from there to Indianapolis. I had made a stop in Chicago. Originally, I was going to stop in Chicago and stay, which is what I should have done, because then that would have split it up nicely. But of course, before I had started it, I was like, I could push through, right? By that point, we're gonna have enough money to kind of be living pretty comfortably.
Yeah, high on the hog.
Right, right. And so I had stopped in Chicago because people had said, if you look up best places to DoorDash, Chicago is one of them. So I'm like, okay, oh, great. We're going to roll through Chicago and we're going to make bank, right? It's just going to be $20, $30 an hour. It's going to be awesome. I think they were talking about scooters. If you were on a scooter,
Right.
because you can't drive in
I
Chicago.
was going to say,
You
yeah.
can't drive. And I had chosen the best day to be in Chicago. It was, I'm pretty sure it was a Cubs game going on. I had drove down to Wrigley Field because I looked at the map. I'm like, oh wow, it's pretty busy close to Wrigley, right? Maybe should have looked to see what was going on there because I'm driving all of a sudden. I'm like, I see a bunch of and there's a bunch of jerseys walking around. It's a game day. So now you're dealing with game day traffic. You finally get out of it, and then next thing you know, I turn the corner and I see signs for Lollapalooza. This giant,
Oh, I know what it is.
giant music festival. Oh my gosh, I just chose the best time to be in
You
Chicago.
nailed it.
Just right on the dot. There's no traffic. It's just bliss. So that was the downside of going to some of these cities because there's no place to park. You go to some of these buildings and they want you to take it up to the 29th floor, but oh wait, you can't park in there because you got to pay to park. So now I got to park 3 blocks away, walk all the way there, then take wait for an elevator to go up all the way down. So you're taking off time on that too.
Yeah, and paying for parking doesn't work in your
Right,
business.
because I can't even afford food. So oh my goodness.
Do I want a place to stay, dinner, or a parking spot? I mean, the big three,
right?
really.
Right.
Yeah.
The big decisions. So I went to Indianapolis. Stayed in downtown Indy. It was very beautiful spot. Woke up in the morning and drove to Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky, and I
Do you
think
know what they call that? Louisville.
Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I heard I know a buddy who grew up there, and he said that's how they pronounce it. It's like it's not pronounced. I call it Louisville.
Hey, I'm happy to be in Louisville.
Louisville, right? No, that it's Louisville. But
Yeah.
you say that to anyone, they're like, where? Oh, yeah, Louisville. Yeah, you got to say it the way everyone knows it, if you will. But went to Louisville, Kentucky. Hadn't been there before either. It was pretty beautiful. That was probably my favorite place. One of the favorite.
I
places
like
I've
that
stayed.
city a lot.
Mhm. I stayed in a place called the Yellow Room. I think it was called the Yellow Room, and it was some of these Airbnbs were actually pretty nice. That was one of the more cheaper ones. That one was about $50. Great place, clean. It was pretty great.
So you're making bank every day,
Just
enough to get to the next place.
Hand over fist.
And did that influence where the next place was?
Kind of. That did. Because like I said, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Nashville, and I think it was about Louisville was the turning point where I was like, okay, what's the point of going to Nashville? Because I don't have time to walk around any of these cities. I'm like, I'm not gonna see the Nashville nightlife. I'm not DoorDashing in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, why am I gonna spend time and money that's valuable to go there? Like, why wouldn't I try to, take my plan elsewhere? And it was around the same time I was having that thought that someone who had reached out to me, I was in cross country with him. His name's Thomas Dutcher, and he reached out to me via Instagram. He said, "Hey, there's this big green dragon statue in Caryville, Tennessee. He's like, if you go there, I'll donate $50 to the fundraiser." I was like, well,
Let's go find that green dragon.
Right, let's find that green dragon. I'm like, $50 is $50. That's the whole point, anyways. Anytime that I was like, oh, today wasn't the best, right? Today wasn't. I didn't make enough money today, or it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to bed hungry, right? It was every time when I'm editing and I pull up that phone and look at that page and see that number go up continuously. It was just like, oh wow, you're reminded, and it's so moving. That's what kept me.
That's really cool. Mm-hmm. And then you kept pushing beyond, heading south.
Yes, went to a town called Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, I know Chattanooga.
I picked that one because I thought it was a fun title, Chattanooga, right? And that one was I had stayed up on top of Signal Mountain in a beautiful little cabin there, and I had actually wanted to get there, at a decent time. All these places I'm getting there at sundown or night, right? And I was like, Signal Mountain, I want to get there and kind of walk around, right? It's gonna be pretty, a lot of nature. That was the latest time I had ever gotten to an Airbnb. The whole series. It was around 10 o'clock when I finally got there, and I'm driving the little Sonic that I have, the little 2017 Chevy Sonic, and all of a sudden I get to a point where it says for the next 11 miles, steep uphill climb, and I went, oh no, and you're going up literally Signal Mountain, just twisty, turny. I think about 5 miles in, the Sonic finally starts going. "Ooh," it's changing its sound a little bit, and I'm like, I am living the. I think I can. I think I can.
Exactly.
Just saying that, I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, we can
We
make
can
it.
do this.
You have to turn off the
Come on,
AC.
baby.
Yeah,
We can make it.
we can. You kind of rubbing the dash a little bit. I'm
Yeah,
like, we had
yeah.
a lot of great adventures together.
Yeah.
Let's keep the good times rolling. Finally made it up there. Okay, obviously I'm still here. Stayed in Chattanooga, and then from Chattanooga it was kind of like, okay, my whole plan had turned around. Right, originally it was Nashville. Now I got to plan out where am I going to go. And I was thinking, well, what about New Orleans? Right, I'd never been to New Orleans before, so I was thinking, let's go to New Orleans. Let's split it up where I go from here to Montgomery, Alabama. Let's go Jackson, Mississippi, and then we'll go to New Orleans. And then I'm driving there, and then Mom had texted me. She's like, you're going to be close to Talladega, Alabama. And I went, oh, Talladega, Talladega Nights,
Of
Ricky Bobby.
course.
Yeah, I was like, that'd be cool to see the speedway. I'm like, let's do it, right? That's the nice thing about the whole, second half.
You got nothing but flexibility.
Right. I was like, sure, right. Let's do it. I hadn't had an Airbnb yet, so found a little place in Talladega, Alabama. Saw the racetrack from a distance. Of course, couldn't go in, and even if I wanted to, I didn't have the money to buy anything to go into it. Right?
I think the Sonic was probably tired.
Yeah. Didn't want to get on the racetrack. Yeah. Um, yeah, so saw that there. Talladega was pretty. It was the closest town I dashed in that reminded me of Alexandria.
Interesting.
Simply because, when it says, "Oh, this place is 4 miles away," right? You're gonna go from, say, McDonald's 4 miles away to this place. You're gonna get there in 4 to 6 minutes.
Right.
Whereas you're in Chicago and it says, "Oh, this apartment's about 4 miles away." The next thing you know, it's 20-minute drive before you
For sure.
even get there. So that was nice to be like, oh, have that certainty, right? And then give you time to rest because it's not every single order because it's a little bit of a small town, so you had to wait in between a little bit. But that piece was a little bit nice in Talladega until it started to turn dusk, and I was quickly reminded why I don't DoorDash at night because the crowd kind of changes
Sure.
changes a little bit, and I never had the camera on for this part, so I give it a little exclusive insider information on the
Okay.
pod here. I had picked up an order from Dollar General, and when you pick up an order, right, sometimes they leave in the notes like, "Don't ring the doorbell," or they'll go, "Put it on the back door," or they'll kind of give you a little something that personalizes it, like, "Oh, okay, I need to follow that." It's instead of just leave it at the door, just hand it to me, right? In the notes, they had said, "Don't leave it at the front door, otherwise they will steal it." Oh, they will steal it. There's a hopeful part of me that was thinking like, maybe it's just like a pack of dogs that comes around like maybe an hour after and they take the. Right? And I got into this very very sketchy neighborhood, and it was just red flags everywhere. I mean, there's people approaching my car as you're going in. You just kind of got to keep your head straight and be like, oh, this is I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place here. Sure enough, hand it to her, and as I'm coming back to my car, they kind of like swarmed around the car. This group of people here, and finally got. I don't even know how I made it out of there alive, and maybe I'm exaggerating it a little bit, but it was still like, this is probably up there on some of the scariest stories of door dashing. Like they will steal. That's not a note that you like to hear.
Right.
So it's not a note that you like to hear.
That's and anytime you're in a new city and a new place too.
Right.
So then what makes you decide to head to Florida?
To Florida, absolutely. So it was that night where it was the first night that I had gone to bed without having a place to sleep the next day. It was the first time when I couldn't afford an Airbnb. I couldn't gather enough money. I said, I got to shut it down after this. It's too dangerous, just safety wise. And I said, called up mom, told her about the whole situation. I'm like, it's going good. I just did my daily check-ins with mom and dad. And I said, if I keep this up, I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch back up again. And they said, well, you want to go to New Orleans, but of course from there it'd be like another 4 6 hours. Like it's going to be a long drive, and I need the time to dash. And they said, well, what about Florida? I'd never been to Florida, and that's a surprise. Anytime I say that, everybody I know is like, oh, I've been to Florida. I've been to so many other states, but out of just a random blue, Florida wasn't one of them. I said, well, let's end it on a beach actually. Like let's go down to the beach. So I looked because I had about $40 left over, and I said, if I can dash as vigorously as I have been, I have 40 extra dollars. I can get a nice place in Florida. I'll have a little money to splurge toward the end.
You're awesome.
Let's make it. You look at the map, and from Alexandria, Minnesota, all the way down to Panama City Beach. I'm like, I touched the ocean. That's obviously we're not at the top of the United States, but you look on a map, we're pretty dang close. I'm like, that's the goal. That's across
so much
country.
better than halfway across the country.
Exactly.
It
doesn't have that ring to it.
It has good tenor to it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
And finally got a place, got to Panama. It was on the beach, and I tell you, it was. I'm not a super emotional guy. Like I'll get excited and sad about stuff, but expressing that through tears. But when you walked out on that beach and it was like we had hit the goal the night before, we had hit the $1,000. It's like for the past 7 days, there's been struggles, there's been challenges, there's been like great memories that I've had. I met awesome people. I've met people that are like just living about their day with a smile on their face.
That's
workers who greet you with kindness, and I'm like, all of it just came, rushing at once when you saw the ocean. It was like, wow. I think I didn't turn on the camera for a good 15 minutes and just enjoyed that moment to myself. It was
what an awesome accomplishment.
Thank you.
How old are you, Myles?
I am 19 years old.
I think that's an enormous adventure.
Thank you.
And I think it's really cool. Please tell me you didn't DoorDash on the way back.
I didn't. We had taken a little bit of my friend had actually texted me. He said, "You're not DoorDashing your way back, are you?" I said, "I'm going to take a little break for a quick minute."
What an amazing epic adventure.
Thank you.
I think you need to do it again next year.
I think so too.
And I'm hoping you'll do some live remote check-ins with us.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that.
Absolutely.
We're getting short on time. I want to be sure to mention
Thank you.
Your can you say a little bit about your show, the Unspecified Show, please?
I would love to. So obviously we gave a little insight on the Dash for Cash, and that was a little summer fundraising series, and I think I want to start rolling that out every summer, doing something big like that, like you had mentioned. Possibly doing it again next year. I think I would really love to do something like that. But the Unspecified Show, I started it about 3.5 years ago. I was a freshman in high school, couldn't even drive a car yet. And I was like, I really loved theater. I'd gotten into theater, had a bit of a passion for it. And I said, I want to keep doing it, right? You can't always be in a musical, right? There's a little bit of that off time. And I said, I really like, performing, really expressing myself and making people, entertaining people and hearing their reactions on it. It's like, let's do something. So I started the Unspecified Show. I'm like, what do I want it to be? And I didn't want it to be a specific something. I didn't want to limit myself to a specific, like, I do food reviews, right? Or, sports, right?
So it's
unspecified. Exactly. So
I love that.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yep.
You might get a cross-country road trip across America, or
Yep.
you might get a video where I'm doing a challenge where I have to eat cat food with a buddy, or you might get a video where I'm running a mile in a suit, or you might get a music video, right? You never know. And I really want to do something that's just me. It's just not, just no limitations.
I think it's great.
Thank you.
I enjoy watching it.
Thank you.
I going to recommend it. We'll certainly tag it on this.
I appreciate that.
And there's so much. You're like a Renaissance man. There's so much to cover with you. Maybe we'll close on this. Let's talk about what you're doing at school now.
I'd love to. So I last May or this May, I suppose. A couple months ago, I was elected the president of the DECA chapter at Alexandria Technical and Community College. And DECA is it's really hard to give like an elevator pitch for something as big as that. To put it like lightly, it's like a competition between other people in a specific event: marketing, finance, entrepreneurship, personal literacy. Right? You're competing against these people, whether it's a prepared event or a role play, and you're going against these people that also have that same passion as you, and you're competing for what's called DECA glass. That's just essentially a glass trophy, but it really is much
more than a glass trophy.
If you ask anybody, they'll tell you DECA glass it's more than a glass trophy. But it's not only competition, but it's also a chance to network with people. Network with people who also share that same passion with you. I know I've heard stories of, like, just last year at ICDC, there was someone from Arizona who met someone from Indiana, and they started a cologne company. Like, there's limitless possibilities. It could be your next friend. They could be your business partner. They could be, your wife or husband, your spouse. I've heard people that
you're building a network.
Exactly. It's such a great opportunity and a great club. Not only that, but you do a community stuff as well too. I know we have a ditch that we clean up as well. We do a highway ditch cleanup as well, helping out the community. And it was such an honor to be elected president of that. And I just been trying to run head first with that this start of the school year. Started school a couple days ago. And we have our first meeting on the 11th of September. We're going to kind of talk about recruiting all the first years. We have a lot more first years at the tech college this year, so it's kind of dawned on the responsibility of, like, okay, we got to do heavy recruitment, right? Which is fun. So it's getting all these kids involved and letting them know, okay, let's have a great time, right? Let's get into DECA. We're going to play a little video here. I always direct them to the DECA page, and I'll direct the listeners or viewers as well too, if you wanted to learn a little bit more about it. DECA.org. They explain a lot of great stuff about it, but it's such a great club.
We'll link that too.
Thank you.
We'll link that to the video.
Absolutely.
Myles, I'm sorry I kept you long today.
No, I enjoyed
your story is so compelling to me. And having gotten to know you, I so enjoy your sense of humor, and I so appreciate the creativity you bring to all this. So thanks a lot, Myles. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you. I will.
And I think what you did was so cool.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for our show this week. And I hope you enjoyed Myles as much as I did. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and watching. You can find us on our YouTube channel. And please be kind enough to subscribe. It's free to you, and it helps us out a lot. In the meantime, keep looking for the extraordinary in the people you meet day to day. And we'll see you soon.